welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Stu Rooney.
I'm Jack Luckman.
We're in a really strange scenario here, aren't we? It's going to be a proper mixed bag for our listeners today. We're going to be talking over the top of each other, interrupting each other, but this is what happens at Christmas.
This is it. It's well, we're not isolated, not deliberately. More of that in a little bit, but you're back from the Maldives, but you're not here, are you, Stu?
No, I literally got off the plane from Maldives, then jumped on another plane, and I'm currently isolating in the mother-in-law's house.
A bit more of that in a minute or two. But yeah, tell us what's on today then, Stu. What have you got? What are you welcoming back our listeners with?
Yeah, so we've got football as standard. We're going to talk Premier League, Arabian Gulf League, League Cup matches that for when we're recording this now there was the fixtures last night and then there's the upcoming games tonight. Messi, a little bit of news about him and what he's just currently done. Salah's going to be on the talking point, and then Jack's randomly put somebody called Jen Beattie on, which I have no idea. I'm intrigued to find out. Talking darts, because we've currently got the PDC Championships, which happened to be 3 years ago. I was there watching it at the Ali Pali.
How things have changed, eh?
Yeah, I was dressed as Fred Flintstone, and Mick, a good friend of mine, was dressed, well, it was supposed to be Barney Rubble, but it looked more like Keith Lemon.
I thought you were going to say Wilma.
Well, yeah, he's probably, yeah, could well be. We've had a few nights out where he's gone back with a Wilma. But that's another story completely. We have also introduced a new topic of conversation. It's going to be Sporting Jibberish Talking Point, or AKA Jack's Rant, as suggested by Henry. So that's going to be coming in today. We're going to be talking a little bit about what Christmas means for semi-professional and amateur footballers and cricketers up and down the country. We're going to be, Larkin is back in his favoured position with Larkin's Corner later on. Much more relaxed moment for him this week. But thank you very much for last week, Larko. I thought you did a great job. But it's good to be back. Good to be back in the hot seat.
That's what the first thing. So welcome back, Stu. Let's just to pick up on that. Lark did okay, didn't he?
I think he did really well. Yeah. Came in there. I love how he throws like a big word in every now and again. I'm sure he's just got he selects like 5 decent sized words and goes, I need to get them at this point, and then he's done his like pick list.
Primary school teachers don't have that array of vocabulary usually, but hey ho. But yeah, welcome back. How was the Maldives? Come on, tell us all about it. You might as well, and then also tell us where you're at now, because there's some bizarre pictures flying around social media early this morning, teasing people.
Yeah, Maldives. Oh, it was awful. Clear blue skies, green sea, see-through, water villas, scuba diving, fishing, sunbathing, tan lines. Yeah, it was average. But to be honest, it felt really bizarre. Is that when we were taking photographs, it looked like I'd photoshopped my scenery behind me, because it is that picturesque. So if anybody, and the strange thing is for the people in Dubai, it's only 4 hours on a plane. So highly recommend doing that. And honestly, so chilled and relaxed, amazing. But yeah, as people tell from the pictures that Jax keeps posting up, the worrying thing is, I think people are sitting there going, how arrogant is Stu? He just keeps posting selfies of him. I'm sending pictures of Jack going, this is where I live. And then he keeps putting them on social media going, guess where Stu is? So I can confirm now it's not me that's posting these pictures on social media. It is all Jack. But yeah, I was sent on a wrapping paper mission to the shops when I sent you them pictures. And we were going in 3 different shops before I finally got what I needed. Oh. But yeah, I'm back in sunny Preston. And as Woody pointed out, Preston Char. So anybody doesn't know anything about Preston, Char's like a fond term for like mate or buddy, that type of word. So it's quite often Preston will go, all right, Char. And you go, sound, how are you, mate? And then that's the kind of slang for Prestonians. But yeah, Cammy actually got it right. He actually called it I. He actually said I was in Plungington, which is obviously where mum and dad live. So yeah, good to be back. It is actually a really bright, clear day, but it's freezing. Absolutely bitter. Yeah.
But you'll be back for next week. You're back after Christmas and back alongside me next week.
Yes, fingers crossed. Providing that UAE doesn't block any transport between here and UK, I'll be back. I should be back in about 3 or 4 days' time. So fingers crossed on that point, Jack.
Excellent. Excellent. Right. Well, let's move on. So, sporting week. Not a lot has happened, obviously, but thought just sort of inform you a little bit that or certainly my cricket, the second half of the season has been confirmed, and we start on the 16th of January, all in one big pool now. So 8 teams into the elite pool, which we managed to get into. So looking forward to that. Just hopefully that I'm fit and raring to go, because I've still not got the results of my MRI, which I went for on Saturday. So.
Yeah, so good news. Football wise, it's still up in the air. There's talk about 11 aside. There's still talk about 9 aside, but we will be back at some point. I'm hoping it's 11s, but worst case scenario, it may be a case of 7 or 9 aside. But like you'll know, and people over in Dubai will be fully aware, is that this window of opportunity is so short before the heat starts to ramp up again. So for me, it doesn't make any sense doing an 11 aside league. You may as well just go, let's do another 7 or 9 aside, or as I mentioned previously, finish off the previous season, chuck a cup competition in there, and then tick that box off. But yeah, just when I come here and people aren't able to do anything, I'm just like so fortunate that Dubai took certain steps to put things in place. So
yeah, I think we are the lucky ones, definitely. So the big thing about this week was, we did say last week when I told Larks to go all in on Barrichello on Monday. Well, he was actually withdrawn from that race on Monday. Didn't run, train, didn't think he was quite ready. But we've had some news this morning, Stu, about when he's going again. And I've only just found this out actually as well. So
they put him down for Monday, 28th of December, 12:20 at Catterick. It's maiden hurdle, class 4, 2 miles, 3.5 furlongs. So a declaration must be made by 10 a.m. on Boxing Day. So we'll know for definite by the time Boxing Day comes around if he's running on Monday. So yeah, fingers crossed he can get on that on Catterick on Monday, the 28th of December.
Yeah, looking forward to that. So hopefully he can get a win under his belt. That'll be very nice.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Nice Christmas present for everybody involved.
Yes, definitely. Go on, Jackie. I'll let you carry on.
The darts.
Well, I was going to say, before we go to darts, do you want to talk about how Christmas looks for cricketers around this time for amateurs?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because I just realised that I've not put that on the actual list, have I? So yeah, it runs in nice actually. From the boxing. So Boxing Day races is very popular, isn't it? Up and down the country, and obviously for a cricketer in England, absolutely no chance of playing cricket in the winter, obviously. During my times in Australia, when it was the Christmas period, you actually had 3 weeks off. So we finished probably just before Christmas, the weekend before Christmas, and then wouldn't return again until middle of January. So it was a period of time, even in their summer. Of course, in Australia, there was then the big thing, and I've been lucky enough to go to two myself, was the Boxing Day Test match, which is probably arguably one of the biggest sporting events in Australian sport annually, possibly around the world at that particular point in time, because you go to Melbourne, you'll get 100,000 people in now at Melbourne watching the Boxing Day Test. So that was the big thing. And if you weren't lucky enough to be at the Test match, then that's what families do. They play a bit of backyard cricket in the morning, watch the Test match, but a bit more backyard cricket in the afternoon in between the sessions. So massive cultural thing around there. And of course, as an England cricket fan, England are more often than not touring over Christmas. So if it was Australia, that's exciting, because you'd have all Christmas Day at home doing what you're all doing, and then stay up all night basically, because the first ball of the Boxing Day Test match is sort of, 11:30 at night, Christmas Day night. So just brilliant. And so your sleep pattern goes completely out the window for the next 5 days, along with your eating and your drinking and all that kind of stuff.
I was going to say, you definitely need an afternoon nap at some point on Christmas Day, then, won't you?
Oh yeah, you have to you time one right, sort of middle late afternoon, before the rest of the family came around, so that you were lively for the games, but then you'd stay up obviously all night long. So it was good. Ironically, or not ironically, I suppose the wrong word, but this year I could actually be playing Christmas cricket on Christmas Day, Stu, if I wanted to. So obviously, Dubai is obviously a Muslim country predominantly, and so they don't celebrate, they respect the Christian holidays and the festive period, but work, as you all well know, Stu, is normal. So Christmas Day will be a working day here, Boxing Day, etc. So actually on Friday, the Dubai XR second 11 actually have a game of cricket on Christmas Day morning against one of the Jumeirah Mammoth team.
So the second team have got a game. So you've been relegated for your poor batting performance and been pushed into the seconds.
No. I just didn't make myself available, Stu, because I did try. I'll be honest. I did try and sort of broach the subject of how cool would it be to play cricket Christmas Day morning? I'll be back for lunch. I mean, I'm not going to be anywhere near the kitchen, am I? Let's be honest. But yeah, no, it didn't really work. So yeah, ironically, as a cricketer in Dubai now, you could play cricket on Christmas Day.
Wowzers.
But obviously, you're in your former life or whatever as a semi-pro footballer, big festive period. Traditionally, in British sport, in football, Boxing Day was one of the biggest days of the season. Lots of local derbies, and the festive period is where the movers and shakers stuff happened. And no different in amateur or semi-pro sport either.
Yeah, in the amateur game, they would usually take a break around Christmas, and they would just ease up around this time. The Sundays wouldn't play. They usually have like a 2 or 3 week period break. But yeah, the semi-professional guys, we would have fixtures. We'd play if it just happened to fall on a game was on a Saturday. You'd play then, and if Christmas happened to be on the Monday, the Tuesday would then have a second game. In the Boxing Day as well. But what they tried to do is they tried to make the Boxing Day fixtures local games. So if you're in the same division as a team that was within a certain milestone of you, then they would link them up. They would configure the fixtures to try and get people down and watch the game. So for us, when we were at Squires Gate, we didn't really have any local. The only other team's local rivalry to us would have been either Fleetwood. But when I first started playing, they moved up quite quickly and then started progressing up to where they were then. Or the other team was Blackpool Mechanics, and again, all three teams were never really in the same division at the same time. I think we came across Fleetwood once, and then they shifted up into the Unibond, and then we never caught them up. They continued to progress. And Blackpool Mechanics were in the division below us, so we never were able to play them. So then it was kind of, they paired everybody else up, and whoever left, we got to play. So it has been known we had to go to Barrow on a Boxing Day, which horrible journey. But yeah, it's a funny life as a semi-professional footballer. You know, if you were taking it really serious, then you'd ease up on the Christmas celebrations on Christmas Day. But at that point, I was 19, 20, 21. So Christmas Day, you know, it was, you just do it with your family, you know, and have a few drinks and stuff like that. You weren't mega serious about taking football, and that's probably where my downfall was at the start of it all. But yeah, after I finished football, I was out Boxing Day now with all the boys and partying, and we used to have a bit of a tradition with the lads. We'd go around to Rick's dad's house, and we kind of carried that tradition on from the age of 14, 15 all the way to like 26, 27. Every year we'd appear there for a few. So I'd go and play football, get back, get myself sorted, and go to his house. And then yeah, it was that's just basically how it went. And then it's exactly the same going into New Year, and surprisingly at Easter time as well. So the fixtures for what you see as the professionals very much then mirrors itself all the way down to semi-pro guys. So semi-pro guys will enjoy Christmas, but not to the extremes that the professional footballers will do. But yeah, it filters its way down. It's good. It gets you out of the house and it's enjoyable. But yeah, when you're travelling to places like Barrow and it's absolutely Baltic, it's not enjoyable at all.
With a stinking hangover and too many celebration wrappers in your pocket. I remember a guy I worked with, head of PE back at my old place, Haven High, Nick Bishop. He played a bit of I don't know if he still is actually, but certainly playing a bit of semi-pro football in the United Counties. So similar level to what you were playing at, Stu. And Bish was let's say a combative midfield player or centre half. Now I'm not laying anything at his door here, but it always seemed that
was it suspended? Was it
a fifth yellow card seemed to appear, or a red card just prior to us breaking up from school, which then meant he served. Of course, it wasn't games ban. The local football association, it's weeks, isn't it? Would then serve a 2-week ban. That coincided Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, they used to do the week bans, and it was a really bizarre thing because you would then be banned for a certain amount of football, but it was across everything. So anything that was affiliated to the FA, so whether it be Saturday semi-pro, Saturday amateur, or Sunday league, it's all affiliated. You weren't allowed to play any type of football, and even that went into the 5 and 6-a-side leagues. So it was a bit of a harsh treatment if you got a red card for a 2-week, and you got a 2-week ban. So I managed to get one in a 7-a-side game. I got sent off by the referee in a 7-a-side match, which then stopped me playing semi-professional football, which was it's a harsh treatment. But you got a 2-week, but then they rejigged the rules, and not long after.
They mirror the pro game.
Yeah. So if you get banned, you get banned from that league for X amount of games. So yeah, they did mirror it as it was the professionals do. But yeah, at the time it was literally you got a 2-week ban. It was a 2-week flat ban from everything. Like you weren't allowed to do squat.
And but yeah, I mean, as I say, I don't know. Maybe it was just coincidence. Maybe halfway through the season he just topped it up just how it was. But I don't know. Bish, you have to answer the question for me.
Well, yeah, it'd be interesting because you get a window of an opportunity. So if you received 5 yellow cards between the start of the season to December, then you got a game ban. But then if you then went into like the second part of the season after January, it was kind of nullified, and then it kind of went to 10 games before you could get a ban. So yeah, he probably had it timed perfectly. But I know a few lads that were like that. Didn't quite fancy a trip to Barrow.
Not as daft as Bish looked, let me tell you. I suppose that fits nicely into another kind of Christmas sporting tradition that's happened now in the UK is the PDC World Darts Championships at the Ali Pali. Of course, I don't suppose anybody really is a massive darts fan, but it seems to be something that everybody from when it sort of starts mid-December seems to get into. And I've even managed to watch a few hours of it through our TVs here. But no crowd. It just doesn't quite seem to have the same oomph, does it?
No, it's a strange, and like you're saying, this is one of these that goes on. Anybody that loves sport, it's got to go on your bucket list to go and attend Ali Pali or the Premiership Darts, where you just go there. And I'm not joking, the atmosphere is unbelievable. It's electric. I was sat on the tables right behind the dartboard. So I was getting messages all night going, I'm sick to death of seeing you, blah, blah. I was just over the guy's shoulder. Every time he goes to line up, you see a Fred Flintstone just over his shoulder. But the atmosphere is brilliant because it comes a bit of a sing-off between the tables and the people in the stands. And it's all the time they're singing at each other and singing songs, just a bit of a laugh and a joke. But the atmosphere is phenomenal. And I actually flicked it on last night. I was at Mick's house, and it was Mick I went to the Ali Pali with 3 years ago. And we flicked it on, and Cross was playing at the time. And I was just like, wow, it is absolutely appalling. Darts is not an interesting game to watch, at the best of times. It's part and parcel of it is the atmosphere and the energy from the crowd that puts the guys under pressure. And I actually said to Mick, and this was before I knew Adrian Lewis's result, or Rob Cross was only just starting his game. And I was like going, surely all the favourites must be absolute bankers now, to go through, because there's no pressure from the crowd. There's nothing happening, that they should just literally get up there, just go, thank you very much, bang, 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 game over, best player goes through, see you later. But it's not happened like that.
I was going to say that both those two you mentioned, former champions, have gone, haven't they? At the second round, that's it.
Yeah, so literally at the start of the game, we were watching Rob Cross, and I was saying to Mick going, God, I think the first leg, they were averaging like 104, and then they dropped down to like late 70s. I was like, that's a massive drop off for their average darts. And then I was just saying, I wonder if the crowd's affected. But I always thought that the crowd would affect, the lesser player.
Yeah.
Or I'd maybe put a bit of pressure on the favourite, because they do have the good guys and the bad guys. The crowd loves an underdog, so they're always cheering for an underdog to come in through and win it. So there's always that atmosphere So I just thought maybe with no crowd there, the favourite should just go on and spank it. But maybe it's the opposite way around now, is that because the favourites have got nobody there to G them up and to play under a bit of pressure, then maybe they're finding it harder to motivate themselves. Or maybe the lesser players now going, I've got nobody here to play in front of. I'm actually, the psychology of playing in front of people is having a better effect on me. And we maybe we see, like a non-seeded player go through and win it this time around.
Because you might just feel like they're playing in their local pub or on the dartboard in the garage or wherever they train, because none of these are, particularly the non-seeded, they're not elite sports people. They're earning a living elsewhere and then practicing when they can. So yeah, interesting to see how that goes. But certainly not the same viewing experience as once before. And I saw a comment from Laura Wood, the Sky Sports presenter, who's been involved, and she just said it's just not the same without the fans. It's just not the same.
Obviously, when we flicked it on, you could hear the fans coming through the TV, but I'm just wondering if they're playing that on the stage as well for the guys, or if it's just an empty room.
Yeah, it's just an empty room, I reckon.
That'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, it could be a case of this one might be picking an outsider and just going, let's see how he gets on, because you can get some decent odds for the outsiders. Because I literally just sat there last night thinking, because Rob Cross was on and I saw Adrian Lewis was on, I thought, yeah, these two experienced players, both winners prior, they should just walk the way through. But obviously not. Second round's an early way to go out.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see. Well, we'll see what happens. See if your prediction comes true.
Yeah, we shall see. Right, so on to football. Arabian Gulf League. I don't know if you've seen it, Jack, but there's been some absolute shocking results.
No, I haven't seen it over the last week or so.
Yeah, so the last set of games on the 17th of December and the 18th of December have thrown the league wide open.
Very good.
So I'll go through the results. So Al Dafra won, Hatta nil, probably as we expected. This is the biggest shock. Banias won, Sharjah nil.
Unbelievable, 100% record gone.
So, yes, so I think you actually said last week on the show, if I remember rightly, that there could have been a potential upset there when you were speaking with Larkin. So, I've
been on a bit of a run, Banias.
Yes.
So, come to you. What's a result?
Yeah, and then to confound matters worse for you guys, Al Wasl lost 3-2 to Al Jazeera, but Al Jazeera now have gone level points with Sharjah.
Whoa.
In the league. Kalba nil, Al Wada nil, and then another shock result. Fujairah beat Shabab Ali 3-2. So that's a massive
mixed season for Shabab Ali, considering they were the ones who were in prime position to win it before everything happened, etc., etc. So they'll be
maybe they're missing maybe they're missing the crowd. And then your boys Al Nassr lost 2-1 to Al Ain.
I saw that. Yeah.
So that could have been you getting up there alongside the other boys, and then Ajman lost 2-1 to Kofrakan. So that leaves the league table. I'll just quickly run through this for people at home.
So story of my teams that sort of having a bad week when they could have been much better, let's say.
Yeah. Well, I think fortunate for probably Sharjah, who are currently top, they're actually away to Hatta next game. So that's not a bad, potential game to bounce back to. But yeah, they're currently joint top with Al Jazeera, who are at home to Ajman, who are second from bottom. So you expect both teams to pick up the points there. Al Nassr are away to Al Dafra, who are currently 7th place. Benias, after that result, have jumped up to 4th. They've actually go to Shabab Ali, who are 9th now. And then making up the top 5 is Al Ain, who are at home to Kalba, who are in 6th place. And then lower down the league, Al Wasl, who are in 10th, will be playing Kofrakan. Al Wada, who I didn't mention, who are in 8th. They are at home to Fujairah, who are on the back of a great result, who were only had 4 points up until last week. So they were third from bottom. And they turned up. Yeah, so I think that concludes everybody. Al Wasl and Kofrakan could swap places depending on if Kofrakan can beat them. And that would put potentially Al Wasl all the way down in 11th. So, them fixtures are coming up. So that'll be interesting to see how everybody gets on with them games. And their actual first fixture is Friday, the 25th of December.
Yeah, so they're actually Christmas Day footy.
Yeah, so Christmas Day and Boxing Day for the UAE Gulf League. So we'll watch that with bated breath and see how that gets. It's made it a lot more exciting now that Sharjah have fallen over. So
definitely. And I did read somewhere that they're hoping that crowds are going to be back in January. So fingers crossed that's the case, because I think there's quite a lot of people, expats, people at work, who are keen to get some live sport under the belt again. So hopefully the new year can bring that, because that'd be really good. Be really, really good.
Definitely. So moving over from that, we will go through last week's results. Some real standout results, some really good ones, some average ones. Good results for Liverpool in particular. So Wolves turned around and turned over Chelsea 2-1. Man City, obviously. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong game. Sorry, the first game was Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. I think Liverpool just scraped through 7-0.
I'll be honest, I didn't, and it wasn't deliberate. I didn't see any of it. I was out all day on Saturday playing a bit of golf. So I didn't see any of that. But hell of a result, that 7. You wouldn't have predicted that. There's no way nobody was predicting that.
No. I think what helped Liverpool is they got a goal within the first 2 minutes, and then it kind of just exposed Crystal Palace a little bit, because rather than them sitting in and being a little bit rugged and trying to break on Liverpool were actually in a position where they were then fortunate just to keep able to picking off Crystal Palace second half. But I say that Palace had a couple of chances early after Liverpool went 1-0 up, but probably that's the difference between the top 3-4 teams in the country and being a team outside the top 4 or top 6. That bottom part where you just aren't clinical enough, it's going to come back and bite you.
Exactly, and actually, I mean, the week before Spurs drew 1-1, which disappointing result, much like Liverpool's at Fulham the previous week. But albeit Tottenham still should, the keepers had a worldie. The keepers probably say 4 or 5 proper saves in that game. So people have said, "Oh, Palace are quite watertight defensively." Well, they're not really, because it quite easily could have shipped 11 goals in the last 2 games. It just so happened that the week before, Spurs probably weren't quite as clinical as what Liverpool had, and the keepers had a worldie, the best game of the season, probably his best game alive, So I don't think Palace are that defensively strong as what people may think.
Yeah. And then the game after that was Man City away at Southampton, which is a potential banana skin. City will be happy to walk away with 3 points, but Southampton might be a little bit disappointed they didn't snatch something or create a really good opportunity to take some of the spoils there. So I think they'll be a little bit disappointed.
They'll be disappointed. And Ings injured again, isn't he? Which is bad for them.
Bad news for them. And then I don't know if it's a surprise result. Later on that day was Everton beating Arsenal 2-1, or if that's a little bit of realisation for Arsenal fans that that's where you've fallen to now, where Everton are expected to potentially turn you over and beat you.
I think so. I think they're in a real bad place. I was reading this morning actually over here that obviously last night they went out of the League Cup thrashed at home by City. And there's talk that Arteta's been given 3 games for this festive period to save his job. Larks asked me last week on here whether is his job under pressure. I mean, I don't think any job in football you ever completely and utterly safe for a number of reasons, but it'd be a strange one to get rid of him, because it's not as if they've backed him in the transfer market but then you say that he's managed to sign people like Willian on a 3-year deal, £200,000 a week, and a 4-year deal for Xhaka or things like that, Yet Ozil can't get near the side. Bizarre. I'm not sure he's quite helping himself either, is my honest thing.
No, and they bought the young French lad that I put out as a potential, one to watch. His rating across Europe was phenomenal, and he's still not made. They paid 27 million for him. I can't think what his name is now, but he's not even had a sniff at the game. But I do understand that he's had family issues. I think his mum's not long passed away, so I don't know if he's been given a little bit of time, to get himself sorted. But Gabriel looks at not a bad player for them, but like you're saying, is that there's a lot of young potential talent in there. They just don't have any experienced heads that are going to lead them through this sticky situation.
No. And
let's be honest, why would you not just throw Ozil in and give him a bit of a run?
And I completely agree. I don't understand that. And I think because obviously the minute you can watch every game if you're that way inclined. So when I've watched him, I don't think he knows his best 11. I don't think he knows what system he wants to play. I don't think they've got much of an identity. Where probably at the minute most other, certainly the top sides or even some of the sides near the bottom, you've got an identity. They kind of know the best players or who they want to play or on the way they want to play. Whereas Arsenal, I'm not quite sure they do.
Yeah. So we'll watch out, and hopefully Arteta can turn things around, because last thing we want, and even you as a Spurs fan, is you don't want Arsenal out of your division. You'd like to thump them twice a season, wouldn't you, Jack?
Absolutely right. You Spurs.
Yeah. And then on the next game after that, Newcastle 1-1 with Fulham. Good point for Fulham potentially. Then we went on to Brighton, Sheffield United. Sheffield United almost got the first win of the season, despite going down to 10 men. And I think we're going to talk about that incident a little bit later on in the rant corner.
I watched that game. Another thing I cannot understand, other than, I don't know if he's played, and obviously could have one eye on fixtures coming up, but Brighton struggled to score goals. They struggled to score goals all the way since they've been in the Premiership. You know, originally it was because they thought is the way that Chris Hughton played now. They've got a better brand of football, if you like. Still struggle to score goals. They've got a natural goal scorer there who sits on the bench in a home game against bottom of the league, and then eventually brings on and scores in Danny Welbeck. I don't get it. If they were at home to Liverpool, I can understand it a lot. But surely Potter's got to think, I'm going to win that. I've got to win that game. It's a game I have to win. I play my best 11.
Yeah. Maybe he's thought that he could get away without having to play him. And obviously Welbeck's getting on a bit, and he's very much like Sturridge, isn't he? Very injury prone. So
yes, I agree. And you're right. That was my next point there. Or was it a little bit of arrogance that actually we'll beat him with whoever we've got up front? Because the two lads up front, Malpay and Connolly, work hard, but I'm not sure they can finish the dinner sometimes.
Yeah. The interesting game on that day, Spurs 0, Leicester 2.
Shocking. Worst game of our season since opening day. No doubts about it for me. Don't listen to Mourinho just trying to play the media. I can't believe the media still bite at his everything, trying to say that we were good. Slightly better in the second half, I guess. And he said exactly what did I say to you, Stu, when we sat watching it? I said, I know what Mourinho will say about it. One stupid penalty and an own goal, and he said exactly that. Obviously trying to protect his players a bit, I think, but awful. And again, I highlighted for me that there's 2 or 3 players at least in what is his best 11 at the minute who aren't good enough. You know, I said before, you never win in the league with James Milner at left back, etc. You never win in a football league or get anywhere near with Moussa Sissoko in the middle of midfield. Do not care what anybody wants to tell me.
Yeah, my question is, I'm going to ask you this because you'll know a little bit more than I am. Why is Oriol starting? Where's Doherty? Is he injured, or is he just not fitting the system, or what's going on?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think originally he signed him as the right back to play high. So if anybody watched the Amazon documentary, Mourinho talks about his right back high or one of his fullbacks. I think the original thing was he'll play as a flat 4, but Doherty will play high, and Davis will be his left back. He'll tuck it alongside the centre halves when we attack. Then Reguilon becomes available, who I think is class, the left back. So they sign him, who is obviously another sort of bomber on it. So I think then his kind of ideas changed a little bit. Doherty didn't particularly start the season that well because he was trying to learn to play as a right back rather than as a wing back. I think Aurier has improved. I think I'll give him that. He has improved. Doherty then got COVID away on international duty with Ireland, and I think he sort of back to Aurier because we've been winning. He's been playing okay, but you know, I don't think Doherty gives that free kick away, that penalty away on Sunday. I don't think he does something like that, and that's what. Again, if you watch the Amazon documentary, Mourinho calls Serge out on stuff like that. So you know he's liable to a mistake, and all right, give him his due. He's been okay, but again, he's not as good a player as Doherty for me. You know, and in terms of Doherty, if you're a right-sided fullback, wing-back, yes, there are different systems and different ways of playing, but he's a good footballer. Surely he can adapt. Surely.
Yeah, definitely. And then we'll leave that one there. We'll not dwell too much on Leicester spanking you at home. We'll move on to the Man United game, which was an intriguing game. Manchester United 6, Leeds 2. Not a full reflection of the game. My biggest issue with this is Bielsa just a one-trick pony that he's just going to go and do exactly the same at every type of fixture? And you know, like I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said afterwards that you know, like Leeds are ideal to play against for us because we let them come forward and attack us, and then we break with lots of pace, and there's lots of gaps for us to hit. So surely if you're a Leeds manager or a Leeds fan, you know, as good as it is playing expansive football and all-out attack, that you've got to surely have a second game plan. You know, when you go to teams like Manchester United or Liverpool or Man City, where you're going to have to, you know, like defend a little bit or close down them gaps, or maybe not commit 8 players forward every time you attack.
I agree with you. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great game to watch for the neutral, and I'll talk about Man United a little bit after I've had my say on this, but yeah, I just find it bizarre that as well at one point in the end, and I know because Cooper, the centre half, had got off injured and they've got a few injuries. At one point, he had 2 wingers playing at fullback and 2 fullbacks playing at centre half at the end of the game. You know, and he had other defenders on the bench. He must have other defenders in the squad. I'm with you that it's great to watch as a neutral, but as a Leeds fan, because let's be honest, if they carry on in this vein, sides are going to pick them off at will, and it could be that they get dragged into a relegation battle that probably their abilities and the way they play the game don't really deserve. But there's different ways to skin a cat. Where they're going to go for with this, and like I say, it's getting the balance. I think for me, they've got to get the balance right. Because at the minute they're still scoring goals. What happens when they start creating chances and they stop scoring goals? Because the other thing. Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say that game could have been 6-4, 6-5, couldn't it? You know, like Leeds create that many chances.
And that's the other point. Man United fans go, "Oh, we're back," and I think Henry's into me. "Oh, you know, Ollie getting into Ollie, but either win the game around they're above Spurs." I don't care about that. Let's be fact of the matter is that game could have been 6-5 because Man United, for me, and I think I actually tweeted this, all it did for me was emphasise, Leeds can be picked off at any point by any team. All right, and like they might win games 4-3, 4-2, brilliant. But also carried on the highlight and the fact that Man United defensively are woeful for me. They are woeful. You know, a good side playing well. Well, Tottenham did him away, didn't they? 6-2. Liverpool played them at home at Anfield. The way Liverpool are playing now, they'll rip them apart defensively.
Yeah. I think that's in 3 games' time, that as well.
Yeah. So, look, I don't know. In all honesty, it's a great game to watch, end to end. Man United fans will be happy to score some really good goals. It's quite good to see, as an Englishman, see Rashford playing well and look somewhere back to where we know him can be, because I think he's been a bit disappointed this season when I've watched him play. And yeah, look, a bit like what you said about Arsenal, we all hate Manchester United, but the league's better when they're playing well or they're a good side. It's great seeing them lose. I love it, but you know, they are better when. And as I keep saying, I've said it all along, keep Ollie at the wheel.
Yeah, right. So I'll just run through the last other few results. West Brom lost 3-0 to Aston Villa, so big 3 points for Villa there. Burnley with, I'd say, a great result, beating Wolves 2-1. Really steady Burnley ship and helped them out. And then Chelsea very much put West Ham to the swords. But again, Timo Werner not at all anywhere near the person that we thought he was going to be when he arrived in the Premiership.
No. And did you hear, I've picked up something what he said this week about his form, saying that I knew he'd be different to the Bundesliga. I knew it might be a bit more physical and a bit faster, but not this much. He's really, really tough. I'm not sure you want to hear that from your super signing, do you?
Well, I don't get, my issue is yes, it may be a bit difficult, but he's getting the chances, but he's snatching at everything. Some of the misses he's had have been horrendous. It's like that composure side of it. Maybe it's the pressure of this big building, or I'm going to say this now, is that Liverpool have done a stupid bit of business there, but by pulling out of this and not getting involved into a bidding war with Chelsea and left it alone and gone with Jota, who was a proven player in the Premiership and has had a greater return in a shorter period of time than Timo Werner has. So.
And they always say, don't they, that how many players have taken a season to adapt to the Premier League, or never have adapted to the Premier League. We've seen some really good players come, thinking about, I don't know, Veron, for example, at Man United, did okay, but did he really rip it up like we thought he would? Yeah. Not really, I don't think. And others, that was just what I could think of now. Others have been and gone and not done anything. Others have taken time to do it. But yeah, he's certainly been disappointed at the moment.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't think Frank can afford a season with him not firing off on full cylinders, because they've given him the backing, haven't they? So he needs to reduce. But good result for them. That keeps them within a sniff. And then This week on Boxing Day, in 3 days' time, first game's Leicester Man United. That'll be an interesting fixture to see exactly how good Man United are against probably what we say a resilient Leicester that will probably look to do complete opposite to Leeds. They'll sit in, soak it up, and then Vardy's on fire at the moment. And I bet Vardy's literally rubbing his hands going, I've trained against Maguire 20,000 times and I'm going to skin him alive. So I can imagine that'll be an interesting one. And I wouldn't be surprised if them two end up with a bit of a niggle at each other. You know, I can just see that happening.
Yeah, Vardy's like that, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think
he'll just look to get under. That's the non-league in.
Yeah, and I think he'll look to get under his skin, and he'll probably talk to him all the way through the game. And I can imagine going out trying to land one on him at some point. But yeah, that's it. That's an intriguing first game. Then we've got Villa Palace straight after that. That's one to go and have your afternoon snooze at. But at the same time, for the first time ever, we've actually got Fulham and Southampton on at the same time, which is the first time since before lockdown that we've had fixtures at the same time. And then we've got Arsenal Chelsea on that evening at 9:30, I think. And then that's a really interesting game because Arsenal just need to grab something from somewhere, and Chelsea just want to keep the ball, keep rolling on. And then we've got a few kickoffs at midnight. So we've got Man City, Newcastle, and then Sheffield United, Everton. And then the other games are on the 27th. We've got Leeds at home to Burnley, West Ham at home to Brighton, Liverpool at home to West Brom. West Brom must be now literally looking at that fixture going, what on earth's going on here? Big Sam's come in. We've had a big changeover manager, a little bit out of sorts. Sam's not got a great deal of time to prepare them for that fixture. Maybe that's his free pass. And say we'll sort it all out after this game. And then I think potentially tie of the day is Wolves versus Spurs.
Big game.
And that could be, well, I was going to say that could be back-to-back defeats for you guys, and that would then really kind of going from potentially being second place, thinking we've come through a whole horde of fixtures here and we've done all right, to suddenly now going, wow, we're kind of in a bit of trouble here.
That would be 3 on the bounce. That would. I think somebody said the 6 games that finished with Leicester on Sunday, in which we played Leicester, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. I think somebody said if you came out of it, forget your points total, if you came out of it in the top 5 or 6 still, and in touching distance of the top spot, which we are, you'd take it. You'd have taken it at the beginning of it. But having got 7 points from Chelsea, Man City, and Arsenal, you're like, pff. And then we've got 1 since.
It's a loss to Liverpool, isn't it? Loss to Leicester, and then if you lose to Wolves, it's suddenly like a little bit like it becomes much more of a sour taste. You know, like you said, beforehand you set yourself total points. You go, if I can get to that, even though you've already hit that, you're suddenly now going 3 losses in a bounce when you're within touching distance of Liverpool. Well, you're actually ahead of us.
Well, it's and look, and you know, it makes the draw at Palace look even worse. And you got to win 7-0 the week after, and then. You know, I think probably we deserved the point against Liverpool on last week in the grand scheme of things, but we don't. That's football, isn't it? And all of a sudden you lose at home when you play badly. Again, that happens. Look at, you boys at Villa and all things. That happens. And all of a sudden, like I say, we've gone from a high to then, oh my goodness. And you can see it on all the forms I sort of follow, and even on the group chat we have here. But all of a sudden it's like we're second bottom again. You know, like, whoa, just... What do I always say, Stu? Don't get too high.
Too high, don't get too low. Right, so moving off from the Premier League Cup, so a couple of interesting fixtures last night. Brentford, Newcastle, I watched that game. Newcastle, very disappointing for me. Had a couple of chances, didn't really put them away. And then fell foul to a robust, battling Brentford team that in the end could have walked away 2 or 3-0 winners.
First ever major semi-final of a cup competition as well in the history.
For Brentford. So congratulations on that. And then Arsenal, huffed and puffed first half, managed to get one back. Martinelli was probably the only shining light for Arsenal, and then he went off injured. I think I looked at the incident that happened, and it's keepers come out and cleared, and the follow through to it. And I said to Mick last night, I was like, it's a coming together. It's a knock. It's not anything else. And I think he had a cut on his leg, didn't he? It was a bit sore. And that's where you're looking at. You look at the Jamie Vardys of the world. I'm saying Jamie Vardy gives a bit of water. I'm gonna bite through this, and I'm gonna carry on cracking on. But Martinelli obviously couldn't carry on and went off, and then any type of threat Arsenal had just went at that point, and then City strolled through with a 4-1 win. But interesting for tonight. You guys away to Stoke?
No, we want to go to Stoke on a Wednesday night, Stu.
I thought it was Tuesday night, but we'll go with Wednesday just for the...
I lived there for 3 years. Nobody wants to go there on any night in the winter.
Yeah,
or the
full
summer.
stop. Yeah. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see how they get on there. And then United, Everton, which I think is an intriguing fixture. So I will watch the Stoke game, but I will definitely be more keeping my eye on the United Everton one. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes on.
Big game for Spurs, jokes apart, because we know that Jose he's always treated that competition seriously, as it should be. I've always liked the way he's dealt with it at every club. And on the back of the 2 defeats, we need to go there weird, get ourselves in the semi-final and keep that hope of silverware up. So big game. So don't be surprised to see a mixture of some of those fringe players who need minutes. Someone like Gareth Bale needs some minutes. He needs minutes. But also, I think you'll find that Kane will play up top.
I was a bit surprised. Talking about that line of viewpoint, I'm a bit surprised Steve Bruce has not gone a little bit more all in, for the Newcastle game. This is a potential cup final for us, and this is definitely a club, and I would say probably in similar stature to Spurs, with the fan base, and the following that they get, is that this could have been something, that projects them onto getting in there, because you initially had to get that gap between you getting in towards the top 4, that top 6.
Yeah.
And Newcastle have that potential to be that, a bit like Aston Villa, I'd say, with the traditions and the base they've got.
And both clubs, let's be honest, in the beginning of the early Premier League era, both clubs are up there. I think they've both finished second in their time, and that again shows something not quite. Although Newcastle are struggling with COVID, they've had those incidents. I was reading again this morning that the captain themselves and St Maxim have got this long COVID. They said Steve Bruce they're in a really bad way. In terms of fatigue and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree with you. Once you get to this stage, you might as well try and win it, haven't you? Like Everton, Manchester United, they've got to both, because neither of them are guaranteed top 4, just as Spurs, not guaranteed a top 4 place, not guaranteed, this is the first opportunity to win something. So go all in and win it.
Yeah, I don't think Everton have had any silverware for over 25 years, I think. If it goes back that far, it might even be towards 30 years.
91 wasn't it last time they won it? Paul Wideout, FA Cup winner, 1-0.
Yeah. So
look at that. Look at that knowledge.
It's a fair whack. But we'll see what happens there. Interesting games tonight. Messi has finally overtaken Pele for the most amount of goals at one club ever.
644.
I think they worked it out as an average of scoring over 40 goals per season.
It's incredible. I'm not going to get into the whole Messi Cristiano debate, but let's just deal with those figures. They're unbelievable. He's an unbelievable player.
Doth our cap now, Jack. Doth our cap.
I would love to see him in the Premiership, because for me, somebody seems to be able to pick himself up. Undoubtedly, imagine going to Stoke or Burnley on a Wednesday night. He'd get battered. But I think he has the attitude just to get up and go. I mean, we'll never see him now, I don't think we'll see him in the Premiership. But
no, I hope for his legacy he stays at Barcelona, and he just is that. And I think that's probably what Liverpool fans will always say the same about Steven Gerrard, but because he went over to LA Galaxy, although it's LA Galaxy, it's that, he started career there, finished your career there. It's so, it's so rare for a player to do that.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
I think Messi had tainted it a little bit by going to City. But I hope he does. Not just because I'm a Liverpool fan, I don't want City to get the best players, but I think more for Messi personally. I think it'd be much more of an achievement to stay where he is.
I think he will now. I think the time was in the summer when I think he's even spoken this week there. He was troubled and things weren't right, but I think he'll stay there now. That's my good feeling. Yeah. I think he'll stay there.
Jen Beattie.
Jen Beattie, well, so interesting article I read this week that Jen Beattie, 29-year-old, plays for Arsenal in the Women's Super League, and finally opened up on the fact that she's suffered with and has had operation for breast cancer, and actually scored just days after getting the diagnosis back in October for Arsenal, and so carried on playing throughout her treatment. Didn't have to go for any chemotherapy. The operation worked to remove it in the first instance. But I read the article and I just thought it was just sensational that she's now kind of raise awareness for young women, to raise awareness about breast cancer and to get checked and to go through things, because you can't, young, fit, healthy sports person playing at the top of her level. It just shows that this horrible disease can actually happen to anybody. So yeah, I just thought it was a really heartwarming story. And I know we've covered stuff about testicular cancer and we did Movember for all of that, and rightly so for that campaign. But I think fair play to Jen for coming out and speaking openly about it, and just putting out there that actually you need to check. So really good, and she's back playing fully now and fully recovered, and it didn't spread, which was really, really good, obviously. And so I think she's going to lead sort of, like I say, a campaign against it.
Excellent.
Raise awareness for it.
Yeah, congratulations on Jen, and hopefully continues to get stronger and better every game.
So there we go.
Yeah, the last point with regards to the football section before we go on to Jack's rant is Mo Salah, which stories are coming out left, right and centre at the moment about Mo Salah and how he's not happy, and it all stems potentially from the Midland game where he wasn't made captain, and it's come from part of it's come from his agent, part of it's come from his best friend back in Egypt, and all these stories are starting to circulate now that Barcelona, he's said something in the Spanish papers that he really regards Barcelona and Real Madrid as a top quality club, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of rumour mills are now starting up that potentially Barcelona and Real Madrid might come in for him. As a Liverpool fan, you know what, Salah's been tremendous and outstanding. Never question his ability. You know what, I'd like it when players go off and they're upset, that they've been substituted, because it shows that there's a real drive and hunger there. And they want to continue playing, and no sports person should be happy about coming off the field of play unless you're injured.
Absolutely.
If you can carry on, you should be wanting to. And I've had a few spats in my time, and I openly apologise to Paul Painter once or twice, because we were cruising a game 5-6-1, and I was enjoying the game, and he brought me off just to rotate the guys around. We'd won the game, probably to save me for another fixture, but I was so mad, I was so angry. And I had to apologise to him and the team afterwards, because I was captain at the time and I shouldn't have behaved like that. But I like that in players. I don't want them to be happy about being subbed. But there's a lot of rumours now. So then, as a Liverpool fan, you sit there going, how do we cope without Salah? I think Salah's one of them players that's going to go to different clubs, and he's going to travel around, and he probably spends 3 or 4 years at each club and moves on. I think I accepted that when he arrived, that he was going to shift on. My question mark is that he's got 2.5 years left in his contract now. Liverpool will not be at all bullied, and I think they've shown that in the past, is that Liverpool will not be a case of we're going to roll over and sell Salah now, because we don't need to. No. It's going to take an extraordinary bid. And for Salah, you're going to go to potentially a Barcelona team. Yes, it's going to be awesome to play for Barcelona. It's going to be amazing to play with Messi. But you're in an aged team which has got nothing about them, and that's a working project. It's going to take 2 or 3 years. Salah's the wrong side of 26, 26, 27, 28. I can't think exact age. But you're talking then, by the time you're going to be a fighting team, you're going to be 30, 31. So what are you going to be able to contribute to a brand new Barcelona team? And are you going to be past your sell-by date then yourself? And the same with Real Madrid. They're a team in transition as well at the moment. And as it's seen that Eden Hazard went there last year at the age of 27, 28, and he's not hit the ground running, he's not adapted, and now they'll probably be looking to offload him, because they've really been spanked there with that sale and bringing Hazard over. So, the ball's in Salah's court. I've got no questions or no doubt about his professionalism, and I think he'll always give 100%. But if you're going to move on, you know what? Move on. We're not going to get bullied as a club. We'll get a decent price for you, and Jota's a ready-made replacement for you. And I think that I'd be more upset if we lost Mane than Salah, because I think Mane is much more for the team and Salah's much more for himself. But at the same time is that you take out Salah that's a little bit more selfish, it's going to get you the goals. Maybe we would lose an attacking presence in there, but let's see what Jota can bring to the table. And Liverpool have been shrewd businessmen lately of investing the right time and getting the right players in. So,
yeah, I mean, you're the Liverpool fan. I would just say you're dead right that whatever happens, they won't get bullied in the transfer market, whether they're buying or selling. You've seen that. Some might argue they paid over the odds for Van Dijk. Perhaps they did, but they bought him at the time they wanted him and not when they needed him, and when they wanted him, not when other people said they needed to buy him. And like you say, we've seen it with obvious one, Coutinho, for example, recently, or the most recent, that, yeah, they won't be bullied. So I'm with you. If a player wants to go, let him go. Let him go.
Yeah. But right, so we've got, Jack's put it down as SJ's big talking point. It's not really SJ's big talking point. This is Luffman's rant corner, as named by Henry. But we had a little discussion off air what we wanted to talk about. We wanted to talk about referees and VAR. And in particular, just to give everybody a bit of background, and this is my own personal point of view, I think that referees are either lacking in confidence or being told on the quiet to not make any big decisions and let VAR dictate and manage games. I'd much prefer a referee to show a bit of something about them, stick your chest out, make a decision. And I think I particularly refer to the Brighton game at the weekend. Ludstrom comes in for the tackle. And as soon as that tackle hit, in normal play, I was like, that's a red card. And I think what the referee did, and this is where he didn't have anything about him, was he gave himself some breathing time, which I completely get, let it sink in, but make a decision. What he's done is he's then gone, I've got VAR to, back me up here, or VAR to make the decision, because we don't know what's going transmitted through the headset. It could be Michael Oliver turning around and saying to him, it's a red card, mate. Pretend you're looking at the screen, but it's a red card. That could be what's transmitted. Until the point we get that clarity and that transparency, we're always going to be guessing what's actually said. But it definitely looked like the referee didn't have enough about him to go red card, gave yellow because he knew VAR was then going to bail him out. Use what your instinct. That's why you're a top referee. Coots is out there. He likes to make decisions. Yeah, even though he's been probably not on Liverpool fans' top of the Christmas card list at the moment because of the Van Dijk situation at Everton and the offside against Everton as well. But referees, don't be reliant on VAR. Make the decision, and if there's an error, it happens. I'd maybe prefer to go back to use VAR for little aspects of the game. Let the major refereeing decisions be made, and if the referee gets it wrong, so what?
Yeah. Well, I'm more, and I've been thinking about this, that I 100% agree with the incident on Saturday. That was a red card. From the moment I saw it watching the screen, we didn't need it in slow motion. And look, yeah, all right, people might say, and I know my old man will be sat there and other people, and I think even the commentators have said, in my day, he got the ball, that was it. Well, those days have gone. So we're not talking about rewriting the laws or rewriting history. Those days are gone. That was a red card. If a referee cannot see that with his own eyes, because he had a good position, then he is not ready to referee Premiership football. It's as simple as that. I noticed that Wolves manager called out the referee Lee Mason, didn't he? Saying that he's not good enough to referee. He doesn't like to say this, but he's not good enough to referee. I agree with you. I think they've lost an element of their authority with VAR. And like you say, we don't know what's being said to them and what they're being told in meetings with Mike Riley, this referee god, in inverted commas, sarcastic, ironic. But, that I agree with VAR needs, for me, it won't happen, but we need to get back to it. Why does it seem to not work? Yeah, it works with rugby union. People say it works in cricket. I have my own opinions about that, but essentially it does work in cricket. It's some of the rules around it that I don't like in cricket, but it does actually work. Is it because they're slower games? Is football just too fast a game that VAR doesn't work? The offside thing is a joke. The fact of, it benefited Spurs the other day, Maddison's shoulder. So West Ham, Declan Rice has a goal disallowed for his toenail offside. That's not offside. And let's be honest, if there was no VAR, and as a fan, you're watching that, and it doesn't get flagged offside, you are not calling for offside for his toenail being offside. And likewise, you wouldn't say as a fan of Leicester, well, we've got away with one there. It's just, it's so fine a margin and it takes so long with those stupid lines. Just get rid of it. Either, if you insist on using technology, let's get back to daylight, clear daylight, or just leave it to the assistants. Just leave it to the assistants. And unless it's absolute shocker, just leave it as it be. Let's get rid of VAR. Yeah. Is it improving the game? And I cannot tell me that it's improving the game. People on commentary said about the red card in the Brighton game, or that VAR working well. Okay, yeah, it probably is, because ultimately it came to the right decision. But I would question the fact that the referee is so poor that VAR is having to get involved, because that's a red card from day one.
Yeah, and there's 2 points there. Is one is football too arrogant to realise that VAR is not working, and it can't go back on itself? And is that going to be an issue for the FA, that they can't turn around and say this is not working? Let's just knock this on the head and go back to how it was. What do you think
100%,
of that?
100%. I think that's exactly what it is. They won't backtrack. They'll have a look. They'll have a look at probably manipulating a little bit like the handball rule from the beginning of the year to now, but they won't go back on it. And it won't make the, things like you said earlier. Why can't we listen to we listen to it in cricket, we listen to it in rugby union. Why can't we listen to it in the referees? Because again, I think that would help a little bit for the fans to understand it. Just as I've said in the past, that I feel that referees should be coming out and speaking to the media after games. If it wasn't for the Premiership and the amount of money that brings in, there wouldn't be full-time referees. They wouldn't be earning a good sum of money. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So they should. So I agree with you though. But they won't. The FA is so arrogant that they won't.
And the second one was VAR was supposed to be brought in so then people would stop debating incidents.
Yeah.
We're debating more stuff with VAR than we would have done in the game as it was prior. So, like you're saying, is it enhancing football? No. Is it stopped the debates? No. In fact, he's probably made it a lot worse.
It's got worse because you're debating about, the handball, or it's the cut of his shirt. Well, you know what will happen? Is people will start wearing long sleeve shirts again. So what happens then? Where's the cut of the shirt? Or they'll wear short sleeve shirts that are a little bit longer.
Yeah, you roll it up slightly. You do Jack Grealish and pull it up.
Yeah, do it the other way around, which have, much like what's happening a little bit, where, they're not in a very good position for a free kick or whatever, or in and around the box. I'm just going to boot it at a player, because you know what? I've got a 50-50 chance of getting a penalty there now, rather than if I try and... Yeah, you're 100% right. It's not improving the game, and for me, it needs to go. It won't, but it needs to go.
Is there anybody out there that disagrees? Do you think it's effective? Let us know. Get in contact with us and voice your opinions, and we'll shout them out next week. But we're up to the exciting part of the week, Jack. It's fancy football. I'm going to start with Larkin's Corner. I know he'll probably be really excited, and then we'll go through results from this week. So hopefully you can hear this properly.
Good to be back again.
Oh, it's gone completely. It's when I tilt my phone. Let me see if we can get it on this better angle. Apologies, guys. Let me go again.
Larko here. Good to be back again in Larko's Fantasy Corner. Well, what a week it's been. First of all, like many of you, you'll be inundated with Christmas chores to do, Christmas jobs to do, going out, getting the number 2, a nice present for Christmas. Busy time of year. Of course, I'm no different. Been down at Murdiff Mall trying to find my feeling just the right pair of shorts going into the back end of the season. I've also been really, really busy receiving lots of emails, lots of complaints about last week's Fantasy Corner. One from a Michael in Chesterfield who actually wrote to me and says, Larko, although informative and interesting at times, Stuart missed the whole point of the Fantasy Corner by tipping every single player in the Premiership. Fair play, Mike. I do hear you there. Boothie wasn't really that consistent with his tips, tipping every single player I think that had ever put on an English shirt in the last 2 years. So let's get back to it. Let's get into the jam, all right? An absolute vintage tip from a few weeks ago, my old Larko was Chilly Boy at the back for Chelsea. Although he's done himself a kipper at the weekend, he's out for a while now for a dodgy ankle. So what a time it is to bring in England's number one, John Stones. At 4.8 mil, great bit of jam there. Clean sheets all over the shop. He's what you want in your team going into the Christmas break. Now that brings me in to the next part of the segment. Being a world-class football fantasy dream team gaffer like I am, I'm not just looking week to week. I'm always looking long-term. Those of you who have had their eye a bit further afield will have seen game weeks 18 and 19. There's been a few games rescheduled. Game week 19, there are a lot of double fixtures. Game week 18, 10 teams don't have a fixture. So what you want to be doing here, you're going to be stockpiling your free transfers, or you'll be looking to play your wild card going into that double week. Also, prime time, triple captain, Bruno Fernandes, Harry Kane, one of them two, pure jam. So overall, massive week, massive couple of weeks for Football Manager coming up, all right? Don't be rushing around the next couple of days trying to get those last-minute presents for the number two, for the kids. Just get them sacked off. They don't matter, all right? Focus on what's important, okay? Stay humble. Over and out. See you soon, lads.
He's Larkin. I should have really listened to that before I complimented him on last week's performance.
I know, yeah.
What I will throw in there is that Larkin did start off the Fantasy Premier League like a house on fire, didn't he? Up at the top, telling everybody how good he was. Where is he currently? Does anybody know?
No, I think he's about the same as me. I'm down to 21st now, which is terrible.
So,
he's 18th. He's 18th now. He's 18th. I've got it in front of me now.
18th, right. So going from like one of the top managers in the world and getting him a job on here, he's obviously performance is not the same standard, is it?
No, he's struggling a bit.
People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I will leave you with that one.
Who was last week's winner, Stu?
Last week's winner was Dan Barron with 102 points, second person this season. There was a gentleman, Adrian, that got 98 points. I thought I'd won it, but Dan Barron, which actually projects him to the top of our Fantasy Premier League with a team called Show Me the Money.
Yeah, and I also think he is top. He is top of the United Arab Emirates League as well. So, you have to register where you're playing from, and he's top of that. He's top of that, and I am 5,522nd in that one, but he's actually top of it.
So I'll just quickly run through it. I'll quickly run through his team. So he had Martinez in goal, Koufalu only got him 1 point, Justin from Leicester got him 8, Chilwell 1 who got injured. He had Fernandes as captain, they got him 34 points. Podence, which I've actually put in this week, got him 2, Salah 16, Son 2, Calvert-Lewin 4, Kane 2, Wilson 9. So it's a big one on the old captain, Fernandes. It's Fernandes and Salah that's really done him a treat there.
It's going well. Get in contact for your prize.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. That's it.
It is. It's the end of another show.
Well, there we go. Number 34 done and dusted. What's the plan for the rest of the day, Stu? Have you managed to get your number 2 Christmas present sorted, or are you out on the hunt for a pair of shorts? Or
no, I don't think. Yeah, shorts is definitely probably not on the Christmas list. But yeah, all presents done and dusted. I think we are. Well, we're currently isolating, so we're not doing anything, Jack. We are just literally staying here.
Yeah, good. I'm pleased for you with the family and the kids are all right. I think I'm going to partake in a beverage or two this afternoon or later on, getting the festive spirit. But other than that, I'm looking forward to Christmas Day. And to all of you out there, Merry Christmas.
Yes, and what do we know?